हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल। आज के वीडियो में हम क्लास 11 इंग्लिश चैप्टर 2 के सबसे महत्वपूर्ण प्रश्न और उत्तर लिखेंगे। ये प्रश्न एग्जाम के लिए 100% कॉमन है, तो वीडियो को आखिर तक देखें और अपने नोट्स तैयार रखें ताकि एग्जाम में फुल मार्क्स मिल सके।
Is who is the poet of the poem A Photograph? Answer: the poet of A Photograph is Charlotte Alston. Next, what does the word cardboard refer to in the poem? The word cardboard refers to the photograph mounted on thick paper. Next, how old was the poet's mother in the photograph? The poet's mother was around 12 years old in the photograph. So next, who are the two girls beside the poet's mother in the photograph? So the two girls beside the poet's mother are her cousins Betty and Dolly. Who clicked the photograph of the poet's mother and her cousins? The photograph was clicked by the poet's uncle. Next, what does the sea symbolize in the poem? The sea symbolizes permanence and continuity contrasts to human life, which is transient. So next, what does the word transient refers to in the poem? The word transient refers to the short-lived nature of human life. Next, where did the poet find the photograph after many years? The poet found the photograph in an old tin box. Why did the poet's mother laugh at the photograph later? She laughed, remembering the fun of the beach holidays and her childhood joy. Next, what feelings does the poet experience when she sees the photograph now? Answer: the poet feels nostalgic and sad because her mother is no more. Next, what does this circumstance refers to in the poem? Answer: it refers to the poet's present state, her sadness and loneliness because her mother is no more. Next, what was the camera captured in the photograph? Answer: the camera captured three girls, the poet's mother and her two cousins at the seaside. Next, what does the word cardboard denote in the poem? The word cardboard denotes the photograph mounted on strip paper. So ये सब 1 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन है, मोस्ट कॉमनली हर एग्जाम में आता रहता है, तो आप सब लोग अच्छे से ये नोट्स कर लीजिएगा। ये बहुत रिपीटेड क्वेश्चन है, हर फाइनल एग्जाम में यार आता ही रहता है। सो नेक्स्ट, why did the poet's mother laugh at the snapshot when she saw it later? She laughed, remembering the fun beach holiday and how they were dressed at that time. What does the poet feel when she looks at the photograph now? She feels emotional, nostalgic and sad because her mother is no more. So next क्वेश्चन है 2 और 3 मार्क्स का। ये क्वेश्चन भी मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट है, हर एग्जाम में आता रहता है। आप सब अच्छे से ये नोट्स कर लीजिएगा ताकि एग्जाम में अच्छे से लिख पाए। ये मोस्ट रिपीटेड क्वेश्चन है फाइनल एग्जाम का। So first questions, describe the appearance of the old photograph. Answer: the old photograph was teeny and faded, the eaves were broken and only bits of the frame remained. It looked dim but precious to the narrator. Second, why did the narrator keep the photograph in a tin box for a long time? So he kept it in a tin box because it reminded him of his mother and childhood. It was a link to the past, so he treasured it carefully. So next, how did how did the photograph affect the narrator? The photograph made him emotional. It brought back memories of his childhood and reminded him of his mother. Next, what has not changed over the years? What does this suggest? Answer. The sea has not changed over the years. It suggests that nature remains constant while human life is transient and people change with time. Next question. Why is the poem titled A Photograph? Answer. Because the photograph triggers all emotions, memories, and reflections on time, life, and loss. Next questions. How does the poet contrast the sea with human life? Answer. The sea appears unchanged over the years, showing nature's permanence, whereas humans change with time and eventually pass away. Next, explain the paras, the silences. It means the poet feels such deep sorrow at her mother's loss that she has nothing more to say. Silence itself overwhelms her. Next questions. The three stanzas depict three different phases. What are they? So answer. First stanza shows the childhood moment. Second shows the mother's later years later. And the third shows the poet's reflections after her mother's death. So next, what does the photograph symbolize in the story? So the photograph symbolizes love, memory and loss. It reminds the narrator of his mother's affection and his childhood. Though it was all unfaded, it still held powerful emotions. It stands for the narrator's longing to see his family again. So next, how does the narrator feel when he sees the old photograph? The narrator feels nostalgic and sad. He remembers his mother's smile and the days gone by. Seeing the photograph brings back emotions of love, pain, and loss, making him reflection on the passage of time. So next 4-5 मार्क्स का आंसर है. सो 4-5 मार्क्स का ज़्यादा नहीं दिया, 3-4 ही दिया है. उनमें से एक या दो तो 100% आ ही जाएगा. So first questions. Why is the poem titled A Photograph? Explain. The photograph is central to the poem. It captures a moment of joy from the past and triggers memories, emotions, and reflections on time, change, and loss. A simple photograph holds deep meaning, showing how moments from the past remain alive in memories. So next questions. Describe how the poet feels when she looks at the photograph. Answer. Initially, the photograph brings back happy memories of a seaside holiday. Later, it evokes sadness because the poet's mother is no more. The contrast between past joy and present loss makes the poet emotional, showing how photographs perceive memories and emotions. So next, explain how the poet contrasts the permanence of the sea with human life. The poet contrasts the unchanging nature of the sea with the short-lived nature of human life. While the sea appears to have changed less, the poet's mother and her cousins have grown up and passed on, showing how human is temporary but nature endures. Next, why does the poet feel silence when she thinks about her mother? The poet feels silence because her mother's death is so deep and painful that there are no words to express her feelings. The absence of her mother leaves a profound quietness that silences her thoughts and emotions. So, next 5 marks का क्वेश्चन. 5 मार्क क्वेश्चन ज़्यादा नहीं दिया, सिर्फ 2 ही है, 2 या 3 शायद है. तो 2-3 आप सीख लीजिएगा, एक तो 100% आएगा. So first questions, describe how the photograph in the chapter a photograph connects the narrator to his past. In a photograph, the old picture connects the narrator with his childhood and his mother's memory. The photograph was taken when his father asked for a family picture while he was far away. Although the photo became faded and worn, it remained precious. When the narrator rediscovered it in an old tin box, many emotions surfaced: joy, sadness, and longing. The photograph brought back memories of the home where he grew up and the love he once felt. It reminded him of how time changes everything, but cannot erase feeling. The teeny faded image became a symbol of the bond between father, mother, and child. It helped him remember the past clearly. So next, explain the theme of memory, time, and loss in the poem photograph. Answer: a photograph shows how a simple old photo can trigger deep emotions and reflections on life. The photograph reminds the poet of her mother's happy childhood with her two cousins at the beach. Time is shown through three pages. The moment in the picture, the mother laughing, later remembering it, and now the poet looking at it after her mother's death. The sea, which remains almost the same, shows nature's permanence, while human life is transient. The poet feels joy at the memory, but deep sorrow because her mother is no more. The poem teaches that memories are precious and hold both happiness and pain, and it highlights how time changes everything except love and remembrance.